Welcome one, welcome all
Got
to the
him.
greatest show of them all. It is the NFC East Mixtape Volume 109. You can listen to this show wherever you get your NFC East podcasts on SB Nation, NFC East blog podcast networks. You can, of course, watch it on the Bleeding Green Nation YouTube channel or the Blog and the Boys YouTube channel. If you watch or listen to this show, you will see or hear, perhaps both, the audio and visual stylings of myself. I'm RJ Ochoa from Blog and the Boys. He is Brandon Lee Gowton from Bleeding Green Nation, and he told me not to start recording right before I accidentally started recording. So, Brandon, what is the super secret thing that you were going to tell me and didn't want to tell everybody else?
Oh, we didn't really coordinate on how we're going to do today's episode, but I figured we could talk that out. I think the premise, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that we are going to be benevolent NFC East, acting in the best interest of each team in the division as we create a mock draft. We're not going to try to screw any team over. We're going to try to create like the best possible draft for all four NFC East teams.
Well, so you did a really horrible job of like setting this up. I understand that you were looking out for the listener, but you just like you jumped past Charmander. You're like, this is Charmeleon, blah 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 blah. It's like, well, where did he come from? You know what I'm saying? So, like, first of all, it's Tuesday, April 25th. Today, did you know, is the perfect date?
No.
In Miss Congeniality, when Miss Rhode Island is asked to describe her perfect date, she says, I would have to say April 25th because it's not too hot, it's not too cold. All you need is a light jacket. She's Miss Rhode Island, which is your neck of the woods. Would you say that that is a fair characterization?
Not my neck of the woods.
I mean, it's the general neck of the woods. Would you say that that is a fair characterization of the current weather? That it's not too hot, not too cold. All you do need is a light jacket.
I heard that you found your perfect date in the mirror. It's not going to react to that. Oh, it's good. Come on.
Anyway, so we are going to do a mock draft on behalf of all four NFC East teams. This is an episode that I think you want to watch because we're going to have the Pro Football Network mock simulator open. We'll, of course, describe everything if you're listening on the podcast, but if you want to see what we can see, we certainly encourage you to head on over and subscribe to your preferred, network. Obviously YouTube's algorithm is very powerful. So if you are an Eagles fan and you subscribe to Blog and the Boys, you're going to get inundated with other Cowboys content. So maybe you don't want that. You know what though, Brandon, before we start, and we'll lay out kind of the ground rules. I have something that I want to tell you. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Money is cool, but championships are better.
Why do you guys hate this so much? Cowboys fans are so mad about this quote.
This was such a cringy.
Where's his ring? He didn't say he won a ring.
Quote.
He didn't say he won.
The
point is, I want to win more.
Let me say something that I thought Eagles fans should have been able to admit that a lot weren't. I won't say all. Jalen is an incredibly likable sports figure. I think Jalen Hurts, the person, is awesome. It bothers me greatly that he plays for the Philadelphia Eagles. That being said, this was a little cringy because, money isn't everything. Okay, says the dude who's literally being paid more per year than any player in NFL history. Let's slow down.
That's not what he said. He said money is nice. That means money is nice.
I'm just saying that, and I know that you
didn't say money doesn't matter.
There was some aggregation of the quote that made it seem like he was foregoing more money in the name of championships. And so that's all, that presentation doesn't jive. That's all I'm saying. We can say the facts. Yeah. We can speak honestly and earnestly. That's what I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to accomplish.
That should be pretty obvious for a guy who's literally the highest paid player in NFL history. Like that goes without
I know.
saying.
So then why are you being like, oh yeah, well, this is what an act of humility from Jalen Hurts.
I don't think that's the tone. I think the message was like, hey, I got the big contract. That doesn't mean I'm done. I achieved everything. We need to win. I actually need to win to justify the contract. Getting paid is cool, but I really like to actually win games, and his actions speak that.
If somebody else said this, you would drag them. And I'm just trying to hold you accountable to your own BLG-ness. So that's just where we're at.
He has a lot of, but this is who he is, though. He has a lot of cliche, these quotes. That's
I agree.
And that's not a fake kind of put on.
I completely agree with you, and that's I think who Dak is too. I think he and Dak are very similar in that they're both super easy to root for guys, very fun, awesome people, awesome characters, awesome players. The NFL is better. This now rivalry is even better. Again, I wish if Jalen Hurts played for the Bears, he would be one of my favorite players in the NFL, but he doesn't. So, I'm kind of stuck. You know what I mean? I'm torn. What can I do? My hands are tied. We are going to do a mock draft. We're going to control all 4 NFC East teams. What did we decide? Do we want to do just the first round? Do we want to do first, second, and third? Like, I think we had kind of workshopped this a little bit in the Slack channel.
I feel like we should see how time progresses.
Well, then I'm gonna set.
Like,
let's get
set
this
it up for 7. Set it up for 7 rounds, and we can see how far we can get into it.
Okay, so before I put the simulator on the screen and we get like fully into it, we are going to only control NFC East teams, right?
Right. And we're going to act in the best interest of those teams.
Now, here's my question. When it comes to like the Eagles around the clock, is my input relevant? Or
I think we need to come to an agreement.
See, I kind of thought at first that like I would do the Cowboys in one team and you would do the Eagles in the other. But that might not be fair. You know what I mean? Like, I think we should kind of, collaborate on the other 2 teams at the very least. And I think we should be impartial and draft in the best interest of the Eagles, because Howie Roseman's super great at this, and the Cowboys. So I think we're both mature enough to do this, right?
I think our listeners want to hear the best possible draft that they would be interested in. So yeah.
Now, in the interest of plugging all sorts of other things, first of all, I mentioned to you, had a super terrifying moment with the Brian Brzee interview that we had at Belong on the Boys, where I thought the file was lost forever. People can now go watch that on the BTB YouTube channel or listen on the podcast network. Later today, Wednesday, the day that this episode's dropping, we will have Jackson Smith and Jigba for the second time, and Zay Flowers. You are wearing some flowers, I think, on your shirt.
That's right. I am.
Look at that. Now, I teased these interviews on Monday Football Monday.
Do you like my shirt?
I really do. I would wear that. Okay, I could see myself like,
no, I don't like it anymore.
I could see myself like wearing that to like, a place, like throwing some darts, shooting some pool.
Interesting.
Whatever. Anyway,
you're plugging your interviews.
Well, I plugged them on Monday Football Monday, which is another show here at SB Nation that I did with Pete Sweeney, Jeremy Reisman, and Rachel Prevet, the fantastic Rachel who produces this show. And on Monday, we did a full first round mock draft. I picked on behalf of the entire NFC East. I picked Quentin Johnston for the Dallas Cowboys. And my first pick for the Philadelphia Eagles was Bijan Robinson. And my second was the aforementioned Brian Brzee. So I just wanted, before we start, to get your thoughts on those picks. Maybe that is kind of tipping your hand for what we're about to do. But, what did you think of how I really did try to like make the Eagles better? Like, it wasn't like let me change this pick sort of thing.
I mean, I just don't think they're going to take Bijan, but
okay.
I don't think it's insane that you did it. I think there's an argument for it. I just think the argument ultimately falls short. But I don't think anything was crazy.
Okay, cool. Then let's go ahead and get started.
I have a plug too, by the way.
Oh.
If you're... Doesn't matter if you're an Eagles fan or not, because usually, it's an Eagles watch party I'm promoting when it comes to doing an event at Pistolas del Sur in South Philly, East Pass Yonk. Be a fan of the Cowboys. I will say, if you are a fan of the Cowboys and you listen to this and you come to the draft party on Thursday night and you're the first Cowboys fan and you're verifiably a Cowboys fan, you need to prove it to me. I will buy you one, assuming you're of age, 21 plus, and if not, I can buy you a soda if you're underage. I will buy you a beer if you are a NFC East Mixtape listener. And you can't be an Eagles fan pretending to be a Cowboy and cashing in on this. Like, that would be pretty pathetic to get a free beer.
That would be pretty Eagles fan behavior. Like, what does it have to be a beer? What if it's like a dollar well situation? They're trying to look out for you.
Yeah, it could be your drink. Yeah, your first drink or whatever. But so the point is, anyone can come out. There's a draft bingo. You don't just have to be an Eagles fan. There will be a lot of Eagles fans there, obviously. But you could be a fan of any, really, of the NFC East teams or not. And I think it'll be fun. So come hang out, and it'll be a good time.
Also, after BLG buys you a drink, he will give you a high five.
Sure.
All right. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do it. Here is the Pro Football Network Draft Simulator. I'm using my other computer for this. It is not as reliable as my normal one. So if this falls apart, that would really stink. So we have all 4 NFC East teams selected. We have all 7 rounds. To your point, let's just kind of see how this goes. We have slow draft speed because we have no idea how this is going to go. Do you see anything you would like to adjust before we begin?
Looks right to me.
All right, let's do this. Again, this computer is a little bit slower. So Bryce Young went number 1.
Oh my gosh, what a shock. Did you see the odds? There's like odds on Will Levis going first now.
Did you see where that that evolved from?
No. We're going through the draft here, though, for the
I've had a very
non-visual.
busy morning. Oh,
Wow,
Bijan to the
Bijan's his
Lions.
6. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Broderick
Just
Jones,
to tie
7.
just to tie a bow on this, apparently Will Levis, like, there's like a Reddit story that he like told a friend of a friend of a friend or something, and like that person said he's going to go number 1, and
Okay.
that's where this has come from. Okay, so we have
Right.
trade out. So I can't see the entire top 10 right now, but Christian Gonzalez. Wow, Christian Gonzalez went 3 to the Cardinals. That BLG will buy you 10 drinks if that happens. Anthony Richardson went 4. Will Anderson went 5 to the Seahawks. Bijan, we said 6 to the Lions. Raiders took Broderick Jones, and then Paris Johnson. So we had back-to-back tackles to Vegas and Atlanta, and then Chicago took Tyree Wilson. So the Vikings want to come up, Brandon, for pick number 10. They're offering you 23, 87, and Dalvin Cook.
I mean, that's not like an offer.
3 trade offers.
Not an offer to sneeze at, but I'm going to pass on that. It's a big drop down 13 spots, especially when a certain player is still on the board here.
You talking about Jalen Carter?
Yes, I am talking about Jalen Carter, who is still on the board here.
Let me close this ad. So we want to reject this?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm with you. Like, I think you have to consider it. If there's like a future first round pick involved here, I think you have to really consider it.
Sure.
But yeah, for that,
I'm looking at it. I'm like weighing it. I'm thinking about it for a second, but then I'm going to be like, no.
Okay, so reject. The Bengals are willing to offer you 28.
No.
Their 5th round pick next year, and Jonah Williams.
No, get out of here with this.
Okay. And
that's not even a good offer.
And the slow computer is slowing. I've hit it. So this would not be great.
We have one more trade offer to get to. Hit next, maybe. If that. Oh, okay.
There we go.
The Saints.
Oh, New Orleans wants their pick back. This is interesting because this is like the Laramie Tunsil trade, like where like, you know what I'm saying, it like spawned and spawned and spawned. They're offering you Denver's 2nd round pick. So hey Brandon, but before you say no, just be weird.
No,
you know,
a top 10 pick for 29, 40, and maybe a pick that could be like between 30 and 60 next year. No, 32.
I wasn't going to seriously tell you to do this. I just wanted to do the Russell bit, but whatever. So we're going to reject this. Okay, so Jalen Carter is on the board. Will Levis has fallen. So despite what Reddit has said, Devin Witherspoon, a lot of people think he's the best corner in this draft. I believe it was Bucky Brooks's final mock that I saw this morning that you and I are recording on Tuesday. I actually really liked it for all 4 NFC East teams, and it had Miles Murphy going to the Eagles. I say like as in like improving them, but it had Miles Murphy going to the Eagles at 10. Feels like Miles is really, really climbing.
He, I think there's some intriguing things about. He only turned 20, I think, in January. Like or 21, sorry, in January. That's pretty crazy. He's pretty young.
Also, he has a teammate of Brian Brzee. The interview you can watch on the Belong on the Boys YouTube channel.
He is an intriguing prospect, but I think 10 is a little rich for him. Especially, I think Jalen Carter. You have to take the risk here if you're the Eagles. I think they are uniquely qualified to take a risk on him relative to other teams, in that they have a really good head of security guy. I can't speak for other teams, but I know the Eagles one's really good. And they obviously have Nakobe Dean, and they also have Jordan Davis, his old teammate who used to play next to. And I think that's kind of a good environment for him to walk into here. I think there's rumors that the Eagles are looking to trade up to get Jalen Carter. And I think if he makes it past Seattle and the Lions at 5 and 6, I think they could move up to 7 and try to get him there. But maybe they don't need to. Maybe we don't know how far he will fall. It is conceivable that he could be at 10. I tend to think that's not likely, but it's not impossible. And if he's there, I'm pretty confident the Eagles would take him.
I agree with you in all of your thought process. I think you have to take the risk. I think if you're the Eagles, you have the proper infrastructure to call it survive this, even if it doesn't work out. I think you also have the right reasoning to do this, right? Like given the entire, composition of your roster. So
it's a big position need. They lost Javon Hargrave.
Right. So we're about to do that, but like in a world where he's not on the board, right? Like if he does go, whether it's to Detroit or to Vegas, like I just would like to understand what of the Jalen Carter list options. And again, apologies to the podcast audience. That's why we urge you to head to YouTube for this. Maybe I like Devin Witherspoon's maybe the play. Gives you an out of Darius Slay. I mentioned Miles Murphy. Peter Skoronski is a name that's gotten a lot of pop towards the Eagles. Like what is the best non-Jalen Carter option of the available options in your opinion?
I like Nolan Smith a lot. I would bet on him. I just love the personality. And I think he's incredibly athletic. He's not that much smaller than Micah Parsons. He basically is a little bit bigger than Hassan Reddick. Like that to say he's too small, I just don't agree with that. I think we're seeing these undersized, quote unquote, edge rushers have a lot of success in the NFL. So
Okay.
I would love to bet on him. I think offensive tackle is also going to be very much in play there. My case against Skoronski is that like he is kind of more of a finished product, and it feels like for a player who might not even necessarily be playing right away anyway, although he could, because it's not a given that the Eagles will just start Cam Jurgens at right guard. They could put Skoronski there. But I think 10's a little high for a guard. Witherspoon fits in from a culture perspective. All those are strong picks. But look, if I have to lean something over something else, it's the trenches with Howie Roseman. So I'm going to say Nolan Smith.
That makes sense. So we're about to pick Jalen Carter. I don't want to waste time on this, but like if Devontae hadn't worked out, right? Like if he had gone the Jalen Reagor path, I think this is Jackson Smith and Jigba, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? But like that, because that's what led to Devontae. You know what I'm saying? Like, this would have been the moment. And like to my point, like this is why like this is proof that you can like reset very quickly in the NFL. Like people think like, oh well, we just drafted like X, Y, or Z, like in the first round 2 years ago, whatever. It's like no, like even if you had whiffed on Devontae Smith too, like right now, and we're just talking about a mock draft. You know what I mean? But like you could very quickly hit the reset and draft somebody like JSN. That's my point. But are you ready to submit this?
I don't think they're going to be looking to add a volume target at this point, too, to be clear.
All right. Jalen Carter is a member of the Philadelphia Eagles. I have to be careful, like when clicking this stuff, because the computer is kind of slow.
What if you took like Will Levis by accident?
That's what I'm saying. So Devin Witherspoon went the next pick, and then Nolan Smith, and then JSN to the Packers, which is obviously very popular. Now
Skoronski to the Chargers.
So the Bengals want to come up to 16. Now we're picking for the Commanders. They're offering pick 28 and Jonah Williams. I think we have to reject this. This is stem. And next offer is from the Bears. This is pretty tempting. So
for the far to move down.
So the Bears want to pull Washington out of the first round entirely into the middle of the second round, by the way. They want 16 and 150, and they're willing to offer 3 top 100 picks. You get 53, 61, and 64, and tight end Cole Kmet if you are the Commanders.
I think an interesting thing here to consider is like who's making the decisions here. In theory, because I don't, the Commanders are going to sell the team, but it's not sold yet, right? So the people, is there anyone really representing the new ownership in the building currently? You know what I mean? Because if there was, I think they should be like, let's trade down, because they're probably going to have a longer term look at this, whereas Martin Mayhew and Ron Rivera are going to be like, we need to win now. Like we don't care about these future picks and trading down. We want someone who can actually make an impact more so this season. So I think that's kind of the interesting split there. With that in mind, I think it's more so the latter. I don't think there is the new interest so far representing the new regime. So I think the Commanders, in all likelihood, would stay here and not trade down. What about you?
I agree with you. I think this is a tempting trade if you're today, say the Panthers, or maybe that's a horrible example, but say the Rams, right? Like if this was the Rams, right? You really need some draft capital. Like you've got to start to kind of like, exactly. But you're right. Like I don't mean to say or imply the Commanders are win now, but I think like maybe we come up with a term like it's like focus now. Like they don't have the luxury of being able to look beyond this. At least the people, to your point, in the building
making the decisions right now. Yes.
Right. Okay. So we're gonna reject this and we're gonna pick top options available. Just again off of PFN's draft board. Miles Murphy has made it. Darnell Wright is there. A lot of people's preferred tackle option in this range. Brian Branch, if they want to go safety. I don't think that we can envision Washington taking a receiver here, so I'm not going to worry about that. Deonte Banks has made it. Lucas Van Ness is here, and Joey Porter Jr. is here as well. That is a very popular pick. I think a lot of mocks have Joey Porter Jr. heading to Washington. That's the direction I'm leaning personally. Like
only one interception in college, right?
We are, right?
That's just not it. Like, I mean, it's not enough. You got to have more ball production than that.
I think that like I'm not saying you're doing this, but I think people are like overthinking it. Like he's a stud. Like you
need plays. You need big. Like what's the value of someone like Trayvon Diggs? Like you need the big plays. Those have a lot of value.
What is the value of Trayvon Diggs? He's one of the best corners in the NFL. Like what does that mean? Like I don't understand.
Like his playmaking ability specifically, like generating interceptions. It's one thing to cover well, and I get that has value too, but Miles Murphy, I guess, like he's the top player on the board here for the rankings that are given for context to listeners. I don't.
That's not enough for them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, let's add more to the defensive pass rush. Like what? Like it's just not.
What
enough
about Darnell Wright? Because they have Andrew Wiley, who is not actually any good at right tackle, and Charles Leno is getting older at left tackle. They have Sam Cosmi, who they kicked inside to right guard. Do we want to add to the offensive line?
It's more of an investment pick. You know what I mean? Like, how does does that really make them significantly better now when they have to be? I mean,
what about Brian Branch? I like a Brian Branch, and fits a current need. I think, especially if you feel like confident you can play him at cornerback or safety. I mean, do you feel so good about their secondary that you want to pass on him?
No, but that's why I think they need help at corner. Like that's, I think I mocked Joey Porter Jr. to them. I've already forgotten on Monday Football Monday. But like, okay, like your challenge if you're a Washington is like every other week, basically, you're gonna have to cover CeeDee Lamb, AJ Brown, and Paris Campbell, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, obviously,
what about Deonte Banks, who's ranked above Joey Porter?
That's what I was about to say. Like, if you don't feel great about Joey Porter Jr., like I think they have to address corner. Deonte Banks is here. If you care about the local stuff, whatever, blah blah, went to Maryland, et cetera, like that's the pick that I think is the marriage of all the things that make the most sense for them. By the way, there's no way we're making it 7 rounds. So
we will settle on Deonte Banks here.
All right, done. Can you hear Bear in the background? He's upset about something.
Faintly.
Well,
right,
he
so
wants to be a part of this.
Will
Levis went to the Jets. Oh man, this mock has already been soiled. I can't believe that.
No, it's realistic. So. It's the QB factory, baby. Joe Douglas from the Eagles making a big move.
That would be really funny.
I mean, it's not crazy. Like, it's not insane.
Like Lucas Van Ness to the Steelers, Miles Murphy to the Lions. So they got Bijan Robinson and Miles Murphy in this mock. Joey Porter Jr. went to the Bucks. Just so we're clear.
Good draft for the Lions.
Darnell Wright goes to New England. That makes sense. Jordan Addison, here goes the receiver run, goes to Baltimore. I'm going to imagine Zay Flowers goes to the Giants. Oh, we're picking for them. Duh.
The New York Football Giants are on the clock.
Well, actually, we're on the clock back-to-back here because the Giants are on the clock at 25 and then the Cowboys. We're going to pick two times in a row here. So the Jaguars want to come up to pick 25. They want 25 and 160, and they're offering 56 and Josh Allen.
Wow. I'm going to say no.
Yeah, me too. That's trade-off for one of three. The Patriots want to come up. Is Austin Eckler on the Patriots in this mock?
What the heck? Why is he on the I guess there was
there had to have been a trade earlier. Oh yeah, look, look to the left. Obviously, you could see the New England trade at 21.
Oh, true, yeah, because the Patriots weren't at 21. The Chargers were.
Right.
Oh wow, the trade.
So hold up, the Patriot. I don't know what the terms for that were, but the Patriots walked away with Darnell Wright and Austin Eckler.
And then they're gonna flip them too.
Wow, the savagery from New England here. Anyway, well, they're offering 46 Austin Eckler and their 2024 second round pick for 25 and 89. That's tempting, but I think you have to say no if you're the Giants.
No.
Okay. Oh, speaking of the Chargers, they're offering. Gosh. I would absolutely take this.
Oh wait, yeah, I would absolutely do that.
Okay. We're going to pick because
I don't think we should because it's too unrealistic. I don't think they would actually get.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like we're going to pick, but like in real life, we would absolutely take this. So just to be clear, for pick 25 of the Giants, the Chargers are offering pick 54, 85, 200 in both their second and third round picks next year. The Chargers are they're in their feelings this mock, BLG.
Who are they trading up for? Why would they be making that move? Like they're not going for a quarterback.
Well,
that would be a great deal for the Giants.
I agree with you, but there's no way this is happening. So
we can't do it. It's not fun.
We need to okay, so options for the Giants here. Brian Branch is still on the board. Hang on one second.
Brian Branch.
Brian Branch is there. So if we want to go receiver, Quentin Johnston's there. Zay Flowers is still there. They're the top receiver options. Dalton Kincaid, Michael Mayer, both there. If we want to go tight end, that makes sense as well. It was not popular when I took Mayer for the Giants on Monday Football Monday. So you're saying Brian Branch is the option for the Giants here?
Yeah, I would like that a lot because versatility. I don't.
You're saying you would like that right now. You're a Giant, is what you're saying.
I would not like to force the pick at wide receiver. I think it's kind of a reach or kind of forcing it a little bit with Quentin Johnson. I'm not the biggest Quentin Johnson guy. Brian Branch, I think, is a nice, clean kind of prospect, versatile. The Giants right now, Xavier McKinney's a good safety, but Bobby McCain is kind of just a stopgap for them. Adoree Jackson, I don't know if you saw the news, sounds like he will not be renewed.
Getting a new deal, right.
So, and the fact that Branch has the versatility to play different positions in that secondary, and there's some uncertainty there anyway. Yeah, I would like to add him if I'm the Giants.
I mean, I think the receiver pick just is so necessary. Like I have such a hard time seeing them passing on Zay Flowers.
That's a force, man.
But who are their starting receivers right now?
Paris Campbell, not amazing. I can't tell you it's amazing.
Sterling Shepard and Darius Slayton.
Wan'Dale Robinson's coming back from injury. Okay. He showed some promise last year. You don't feel amazing about it?
We're going to pass on both Quentin Johnson and Zay Flowers in the name of adding help at safety. It just doesn't feel, like
he's the best player.
But they just paid Daniel Jones. They want that offense.
Lost Julian Love. That was a big loss for them, I think.
I don't know. You only feel that way because he went after your guy.
Your guy.
I don't know. How do we settle the tiebreaker? I would love to actually agree with you so that we can take Zay Flowers to the Cowboys, but I don't think that's realistic. I mean, if we're building the Giants, they have to contend, they have to score points. You know what I'm saying? They need help on the offensive side of the ball.
I know a team that forced a wide receiver pick didn't end up too well.
Jalen Reagor.
So I can't do it. I think, and you know this too. This is also your philosophy with the Cowboys. You're like, don't just take a tight end because you have to get a tight end, and it's the most basic thing. I think Brian Branch is literally the top-rated player on this board here. He's the 18th overall prospect. I'm not saying these rankings are definitive, but there's something to be said for it, and I think he's a good prospect worth investing in. I think the wide receiver thing is kind of finicky. I think outside of JSN, these guys are kind of you don't really feel amazing about. And it's a force of a pick. Do you really feel amazing about Quentin Johnson or Zay Flowers?
I do feel amazing about Zay Flowers. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If we take Brian Branch here, I'm going to take Zay Flowers so fast for the Cowboys.
Well, then if you feel amazing about Zay Flowers, you can give him to the Giants.
I think that is a huge upgrade in offense for them. I don't think it's genuine to say that they're just going to take Brian Branch. And again, I'm not saying Brian Daboll is the show, but Brian Daboll's team is going to be built in a defensive image with Brian Branch leading the way. They got Kayvon Thibodeau last year. Yes, they obviously addressed their offensive line, but they need playmakers. That's their thing. We keep killing them because they don't have anybody to explode in their offense. They need that juice.
And the Giants do have a connection to Boston College. At least they used to when Coughlin was there.
That means absolutely nothing here. I really think that Zay Flowers, and fine if you want to go Quentin Johnston. I think either one is a much more fair representation of what they're going to do on Thursday night.
All right, lock it in.
It bums me out because I would love to take Zay Flowers to the Cowboys.
I think ideally they would need I think what we learned from that range is they probably can afford to trade down a couple spots.
The Cowboys have 2 trade offers. The Cleveland Browns want to come up despite not having a lot of draft capital. And because of that, they're offering for pick 26, pick 74, 111, and Nick Chubb. So
yeah, I mean, I feel like I would do that because Nick Chubb
is the first round entirely.
Nick Chubb's still freaking awesome though, and I'm great.
Again, not super realistic, so we're gonna say no. Oh, the Jaguars just really want to get rid of Josh Allen.
Yeah, what the heck is that all about?
They're offering 56 and Josh Allen for 26 and 129.
No, not enough.
I don't know. I think about it. But anyway, we're going to make this pick. Now, I personally would love to draft Zay Flowers. All right. Which is why I'd be bummed right here. I mean, there's a lot of smoke with Michael Mayer. There's almost too much smoke to believe that it's real at this point in time.
He's been getting linked to the Giants too. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah. Well, that's why I took him to the Giants on our mock on Monday.
No, wait, I'm saying Mayer.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I took him as the Giants on Monday, and then in follow I took Dalton Kincaid to the Cowboys, and so I mean Quentin Johnston's here. We took him in. That's who I actually took for the. Actually, no, I took Quentin Johnston to the Cowboys on Monday, and that's who we took in the SB Nation mock draft. I mean, I'm torn. I think the answer is probably Michael Mayer. It gives them an answer, gives them a they're all about blue chip, high floor, high rates of success in the first round. I mean, not that they're like unique in that, but he is as can't miss as anybody here that we're looking at. His top options are Brian Branch, they're not doing, Quentin Johnson, Brian Brizzi, Dalton Kincaid, Michael Mayer, Kalisha Cansey, Anton Harrison, Will McDonald, Trenton Simpson. I mean, like, it's just a pick that makes the most sense. And again, I think it's too low hanging fruit to be like, well, they let Dalton Schultz walk and they weren't able to replace him. Like,
right.
They purposefully didn't do that. You know what I mean? Like, it's like,
it wasn't like a surprise.
Yeah. They're not they're not like today, like, holy crap. Oh right. Man.
Oh no. What did we do?
Yeah. But I mean that, like, this moment that you and I are projecting
we own it.
Could be what they envisioned, right? Like, we're going to let Dalton Schultz walk because when we get on the clock, Michael Mayer is going to be there, and that's our answer. I mean, it is chalk, it is low hanging fruit, but I do think that's the pick that makes the most sense. But I'm curious for your thoughts.
I would be most scared if the Cowboys took Cansey here, because I just think, I know he's a unique player. I don't, the Aaron Donald stuff is, I think that's, no, I don't think anyone's actually saying he's Aaron Donald. I just think they're pointing out that he is freakishly athletic. And obviously they went to the same school, so that gets brought in there. But his ceiling scares me in terms of I think he could potentially be really disruptive and be someone like Javon Hargrave, who's a really great disruptive interior rusher. So I think Mayer addresses the bigger need, but I would almost kind of like, I was thinking the Giants might be forcing a pick if they go wide receiver. I would think the Cowboys might be forcing a pick if they go tight end. But I don't think it's an unreasonable pick.
I think that's it. Like, they're all about, like, square peg, square hole. You know what I mean? Like, let's do it. So to be very clear, if we had taken Brian Branch, I would have absolutely took Zay Flowers here for the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
But Michael Mayer is the pick. So let's now go down. First tight end off the board goes to the Cowboys. Look at that.
Boom.
Did Dalton Kincaid? No. Oh, the Saints took Brian Brizzi, and Brian Branch went to the Bengals. So they did move back. The Bengals did. Austin Eckler is on the trade block, and the Patriots want to send him to the Eagles, Brandon. They're coming up for pick 30 with 46 or 30 and 94 with 46 on Austin Eckler. So
Eckler reunited with Nick Sirianni. I think they were together in LA at one point, but no, I do not see the Eagles adding that on to
the them. Broncos for 30 and 248 are offering 67, 108 in Cortland Sutton.
Yeah, I don't think they're trading for a wide receiver, but I do think the Eagles will be looking to move down from this spot. And this offer is probably the most realistic one we have yet.
Yeah, the Packers are offering 42 and 78 for 30. That's not bad at all.
How far are we going in this?
It's 12. I say we could do the first 3 rounds. It's probably fair.
We'll see. But yeah, then actually, why don't we accept this one? To be clear, I do think the Eagles are going to trade down. If it were me, I would just stay in, because I like Cansey a lot and pick him. Or I also see DeJuan Jones. I also like him a lot in this spot. I would be really happy with either of those two guys at 30. But I just don't think they're actually going to do that. And we haven't done a trade down yet. And this is a good deal for the Eagles they move down 12 spots, and they also pick up, what's that, 70?
It's a 3rd round pick.
So I think that's pretty good. That seems like good value without looking at the chart, you would say, right?
I agree. So you get 2 day 2 picks. It's not like this is independent of the first round pick the Eagles have. This is a good trade, right? Like, whoever's sitting at 30 any given year, if or 31, whatever. If another team offers you 42 and 78, you make that trade.
Yeah. 10 out of 10 is there a huge difference between 30 and 42? Like,
no,
the prospects that are there?
It's just the 5th year option. But my point is, like, because you also got to already make a pick in the first round, you sort of do get to have your cake and eat it too, if you're an Eagles fan. So I think that is wise.
Okay, and they only have 5 other picks after their first one. So
let's accept this.
Like to get another one. Yep.
The Packers took Will McDonald.
Okay.
And the Chiefs rounded out with Quentin Johnston. Okay. So let's keep going. Dalton Kincaid starts off day 2, going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Oh, I love Josh Downs. I went to the Houston Texans at 33. Here we go. This is fun. This is exciting. Do you feel enthralled? Kalisha Cansey wound up with the Rams.
Oh, and then Aaron Donald and the new Aaron Donald. Oh, my gosh.
Osiris Torrance goes to the Seahawks.
That's a good pick for them.
Agreed. Jahmyr Gibbs joins Miles Sanders in the Panthers backfield. Darnell Washington to New Orleans and Anton
Oh
Harrison
my
to the
god.
Titans. So the Eagles are being offered picks 50 and 82 from the Bucks for 42, which is the pick that they got from the
I mean,
Packers here.
I think they would do this, but I don't. This is
Right.
kind of what happens in like these simulations. Sometimes you
Right.
can get in like a never-ending trade down and get like 50 picks thing.
Right. You're Dwight
So
with the the beans in the telescope and everything. But so just for the podcast audience, because they can't see this, Tampa's off. We're gonna say no because you're right. Like we're
right,
too deep down the rabbit hole. But Tampa's offering 50 and 82 for 42, which again, to be clear, is the pick that in this world Philly got from Green Bay.
yeah,
So for 42 and 219, I agree with you. You do that 100 out of 100 times, but not doing it here. Especially this one. The Niners are offering for 42 and 219, 99. So you do got to drop back a good ways. But again,
yeah.
if that's like you've already won because this is the Packers pick. 99, 101, and Brandon Ayuk. So
That'd be pretty sick.
Gonna say no.
But no.
Stats would hate this. So okay. So top options for the Eagles. Because I know it's kind of hard for people to see their screens. DeJuan Jones is still here. How is Emmanuel Forbes still here? Hendon Hooker.
This is the point. This is why you trade down. Yeah.
Right. Hendon Hooker, Jack Campbell, Jalen Hyatt, Mozzie Smith, who was the top of Bruce Feldman's freak list. He's a popular.
Skipped over the guy's name you can't say.
Well, I mean, I'm also noting popular players. Like Mozzie Smith is a really, he's a popular player for Cowboys fans in the second round, at least. Drew Sanders is here. A lot of Cowboys fans would be satisfied with Drew Sanders even in the first round. But we'll see. But so what is your thought process here? What do you want to do?
The guy you skipped over, Adi Tamiwa.
You almost did it.
Adibare.
Shift back in. You got this.
He has been rumored as a guy that the Eagles love, but the same guy who said that also kind of like backtracked on that a little bit and said he might not necessarily fit what they're looking to do moving forward. So take that for what it's worth. Same guy was really all over Cam Jurgens, the Eagles last year, and had him like as their second round pick in his mock, and that's what they did. So worth paying attention to. That's Tony Pauline from Pro Football Network, I believe. Jalen Hyatt is who I made my pick for the Eagles in the SB Nation Writers mock draft, but not as like I think this is necessarily most realistic. It's kind of more of like I wanted to write about why I think they're not going to take a volume target, but could take someone who would be a low volume, high impact guy like a Jalen Hyatt, who's more of a speedster. But I like the top player on the board here, and it's someone who it's one of the two names I said that I liked for the Eagles at 30. It's DeJuan Jones. I feel very confident that the Eagles are going to take an offensive lineman in with at least one of their first three selections.
Yeah, before Friday night.
Yeah, so yeah, before the end of day two. And DeJuan Jones is this dude is massive. He's huge. He's like 98, 99 percentile height, weight, arm length. This like give Jeff Stoutland this guy and like figure it out. And I think the Eagles could do that. So I like that a lot.
This would annoy me greatly. Two quick things before we turn in the card. I have always thought it was dumb that in this example we say 99th percentile. It should be first percentile. Like you know what I'm saying? Like you should be like if you're the best. You know what I'm saying? Like that's I think it's stupid the way we characterize it. Do you agree?
I think it can be confusing. I think your brain does kind of reverse it on you, where you're
right.
like, wait, is that good or bad?
That's like what place is better, first or 99th? You know what I'm saying? So like that's like I would like to like, and if you're like in the like this percentile, you are like among the very few, right? So like you should like so to me that should be like the first percentile. You know what I mean? Because there's 1% of people who the
1%ers, the elites,
right? That's exactly. So that's my gripe about that. If somebody has an explanation for why math works this way, I would love to hear it. The other thing, super total sidebar, but I just wanted to bring this up because this is kind of, I don't know if it's big loser energy or kind of like, small winner energy. Did you see that Tottenham got blown out last Sunday?
Did, like 5-0 or something.
It was 6-1, I believe, but they were down like 5-0, 5-0, like in the first like 30 minutes. Apparently the players had a meeting and decided to reimburse the fans for their tickets. How do we feel about that?
What? That's no,
Yeah.
like that's not how it works. Like that's
I think
sports. Like
that's kind.
sometimes
I
you
think that's very kind. I think that's because they were like
no,
that embarrassed. They
no,
were like, it's unacceptable. I do think it's like a
no.
dangerous precedent because it's like, what if you get blown out in the future? Like you're going to pay for those tickets too. So,
No, you
um,
can't do that. That's part of sports. You might see it, yeah, but you might be on the other end of that. You might blow the other team out 7-0. Like that's what you sign up for with sports. You don't know. That's the point of why you go. You don't get a
I guess
refund.
that's true. If you
That's
blow out another
soft.
team, are you like, we got to charge you more
Maybe you get a refund if
because
like the players like quit on the team, like they walked off the field during the game
right.
and like it's something egregious. But no,
All right, we've got the pick in. Let's see here. Jack Campbell goes to the Jets. Hendon Hooker to the Packers. Look at that.
hey, it's a nice pick.
The
Ooh,
Bucks are willing to. Oh my gosh, why would they
come
not
on.
do this?
This is
Okay. Yeah, we're not gonna do this. But
rough.
so the Bucks are coming up for Washington's pick at 47. They're offering 50. So to drop 3 picks, they will also want 193. To be fair, but so they're offering for 47
third.
and 193. They're gonna get 50 and their third next year. I would have,
and that could be like a good third too. The Bucks might be bad.
I know, but we're gonna say no because it's not practical.
I agree.
So we took who did we take?
Deonte Banks for the Commanders.
Right. So Jalen Hyatt's here, your boy, whose name that you'd love to pronounce is also available. Mozzie Smith is still here. I mean, Steve Avila's still here. Luke Musgrave's still here. What general position area do we want to explore for Washington?
I mean, a receiving core of Jalen Hyatt, Terry McLaurin, and Jahan Dotson would really be something. That would be very dangerous. But I don't think that's necessarily the most realistic. They still have Curtis Samuel. They still have Diami Brown.
Curtis Samuel's going to be amazing because he was amazing with Ron Rivera and the Panthers. And so now that they're together again, he's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing.
They're not going to draft John Michael Schmitz. They already have Chase Roulier. Do they need a linebacker? Who are the Commanders' linebackers? Jamin Davis, who I don't think has really emerged yet, and Cody Barton. Why don't we give them? Some people think Drew Sanders is like the top linebacker on the board. Some people would.
That's why I said there's a lot of people who a lot of Cowboys fans who would love that pick at 26.
Exactly,
it's great value.
Yeah, I think let's do it. Let's give him a linebacker.
Okay. Drew Sanders, it is.
It feels very inoffensive and kind of just the Commanders are having a very lame duck draft. They're just adding they're nothing splashy, just quietly solid players.
Jalen Hyatt to the Steelers.
Wow.
That'd be so much fun. Steve Avila to the Dolphins at 51. Cedric Tillman to the Seahawks. Mozzie Smith goes to the Bears. That stinks. Almost time, Brandon.
Giants are coming up here. And we are not going to accept this trade.
Yeah, this is okay. I'm not even gonna
even though it's a very good trade for them.
Yeah, we're done reading.
These trades are ridiculously favorable to the team trading down.
Right. Okay. So the Giants walked away with Zay Flowers in the first round. And this is the other side of that, right? So to your point, had they gone Brian Branch, it's not as, sure of a thing, but you could go Marvin Mims Jr. here. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you like that combination more. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you feel like that's the better overall yield.
They could have traded up for Jalen Hyatt in this scenario.
Right. Sure. Whatever. But the point still stands. To your, you know what, Brandon, I'm a man. I'm fine. I was wrong. You were right. That was the best way to do this for the Giants. And so I'd be terrified though if the Giants got Zay Flowers. So I still feel like this is a good win for them. Do they want your boy Adi Tamiwa?
I will say the good signing by the Giants. They had Ashawn Robinson. That was a really nice move. I forgot he was still out there. And that's the kind of types that are still out there, run stuffers at this point of the year in free agency. But the Giants were terrible against the run last year. And I saw that firsthand with the Eagles constantly just running all over them. So I think that was actually a really nice ad to get him on a 1-year deal. That doesn't mean they can't draft AA, our boy over here from Northwestern. But
that's a good way to put it, yeah.
I think the smarter play would be to draft who I think some people think is fringe and a first round kind of guy here. John Michael Schmitz from Minnesota. Giants lost their starting center, John Feliciano. And currently Who is starting there, RJ? Who's the Giants starting center right now on their depth chart?
I do
You
not
don't know. So that probably works to my point, right? It's Ben Bredesen is there, and he's kind of been a backup. They don't have, the point is they do not have a surefire option there, and this draft is not necessarily loaded with centers. And to be able to get one here at for full context, in these rankings, he is the number 47 prospect, and he's the second best available prospect on the board here at number 57. So that feels like a pretty logical pick to me.
I don't have any qualms with what you've offered. I think it makes sense. And I think you got your sexy, fun toy, you know what I mean? Like in the first round. Whoa. Now you do something a little bit more practical, a little bit more reasoned, a little bit more responsible. So, okay, pick is in. Now the Cowboys are on the clock. All of my favorite options are gone. The Jets want to, what?
No.
This is just again, we're past the point of reading these. This is somewhat realistic. The Browns have offered for 58, 74. Well, hang on. I'm just reading it out loud for the podcast audience. The Browns have offered 74 and 111 for 58. I do not want to do that, but at least it's realistic. So we obviously just went through the top options for the Cowboys. And I mean, I don't regret, kind of like we talked about, the cons of taking Zay Flowers a moment ago. I don't regret taking Michael Mayer. I don't want Luke Musgrave. I don't want to put all my eggs in that basket. There's nobody here that I feel like, oh, if I had gone elsewhere, I would feel content. There's nobody here that I'm actually in love with, which is a bit of a bummer.
Which is why you should have traded down.
I mean, but again, I don't think that's reasonable.
So Double A, your boy.
No, I mean,
he's a guy who can kind of play defensive end and defensive tackle. There's some versatility there.
I mean, I will say the dream for the Cowboys is right here, for Steve Avila to have made it. You know what I mean? And you still walk away with some interior offensive line help.
You could take Cody Mock. He would fill that. He can play pretty much every offensive line. I mean, at least not center.
And I think that's so. We'll see how serious the Cowboys are about a few things. So at the owners' meetings, they talked about the idea of Terrence Steele, who's only played right tackle for them, playing at left guard, and that felt a little ridiculous. But it also felt a little bit like, guys, we're totally going to do this. We definitely don't need a left guard. We're willing to play Terrence Steele there. And yesterday, as you and I are talking during their pre-draft press conference, they brought up Josh Ball, who was a fourth-round pick of theirs in 2021, who was terrible at tackle in the preseason last year. And they said he's probably going to work more inside than out this coming season.
And not a good guy.
Also, I mean, again, I'm just telling you the football parts of all this. But obviously, I mean, I feel like that's very well understood and should be by this point in time. It's been 2 years. But to that point, the Cowboys have now floated out that Terrence Steele's an option at left guard, that Josh Ball's an option at left guard. It's like they're waving a neon sign, we don't need left guards, everybody. We definitely don't need left guards. So maybe they take Osiris Torrance in the first. Maybe that's the other, possible way they go instead of Michael Mayer. And then they're satisfied with Luke Musgrave or whatever. Maybe they're satisfied with Jake Ferguson. They don't want to draft anybody. But to your point, I think you have to go Cody Mock right here, unless you're trading down, because I don't like any of these other options.
When in doubt, take an offensive lineman. It's hard for that to go unless, obviously there can be busts, but I think it's a smart way to go. You can never have too many offensive linemen.
Done. All right, so let's move on. Yeah, we're definitely only going to do the top 100 picks here because Luke Musgrave goes one pick later to the Bills, who did not take Dalton. I think they didn't take Dalton Kincaid in the first round. The Eagles
are back up.
Same exact offer, by the way.
This is
this is the exact same. The Browns are making the same offer.
Would have been a bad deal for you then.
Yeah. Again, we're not going to take this, but whatever.
And this is their own second round pick, to be clear. This isn't one we traded for.
Right.
I like how the board's shaking out here. Give me Zach Charbonnet. Eagles could afford to add, they don't need necessarily running back, but they could very much afford to add a running back, considering that Rashad Penny is their lead guy right now, and he gets hurt a lot. Kenny Gainwell.
Wait for Zeke, though.
Role player. Zeke did say he was going to make a decision or wanted to make a decision about a month ago. Hasn't happened yet. We're still waiting. There was a weird Derrick Henry rumor out there. I don't really know what to make of that. It doesn't seem like anything is imminent. I'm going to say the Eagles should take a player who's consistently available to them here in any of these simulations I've done, in any kind of simulator for any outlet. I'm going to take Zach Charbonnet. I think he fits in as a guy who's going to be not necessarily like the lead back himself, but he will be a big contributor in the rotation. Really good in pass protection. Isn't like a weapon in the passing game, but is a respectable enough receiver. It's all around good player that I think will kind of help offset the loss of Miles Sanders.
I think any team who has the 45th pick or beyond that walks away with Zach Charbonnet or, Roshan Johnson or like, you know what I mean? Pick one of these running backs is it's a like, it feels like an instant win because you
Sure.
feel like we didn't pay the first round price tag. We still got a highly productive player. It is an important position. It is devalued. You know what I mean? Like all these things are, multiple things could be true as we love to say.
That's
but
right.
so like, I think this makes sense. This is smart. So bums me out, but here we go. The Chiefs, who did the Chiefs had? Quentin Johnson.
You did it.
And, the double A goes.
Wow. Good pick for them, for the Chiefs.
Right. The Ravens traded up to 65. Okay. There's lots of trades happening here. This thing is hungry for trades. Sam Laporta goes to the Cardinals, even though they took who was the Colorado State tight end they took last year?
I don't know.
Man, I'm blanking. But they took a tight end in the second round last year.
Well, they have Zach Ertz still too.
That's also true. Man, dude, those uniforms.
Oh, so bad.
Stink. Like,
dude, so you saw Jonathan Gannon's thing about Philly, right? Like, it's so hard. It's such a hard place.
Okay, so we can pause the draft and talk about this.
I don't want to pause the draft.
I meant like we can pause like the active drafting because this is our last round anyway. Here's my take on the Jonathan Gannon thing. As the Eagles are on the clock at 78.
I have a way too favorable offer once again.
Yeah, we're gonna reject this, and we're gonna reject Cleveland's offer as well. I think a little bit too much sensitive reaction from Eagles fans. I think what Jonathan Gannon said was silly. I think it was.
You think that's a good vibe if you're a Cardinals
fan?
No.
Again, multiple things can be true. So hang on, let's talk about the Jonathan Gannon thing because it is the NFC East Mixtape. So
we're way too big now. I feel like here.
Refresh us. His statement was basically right. Like he specifically mentioned Philly media. Right. He
he said factual inaccuracies. Like he said things that literally were not true.
Part of like the silliness, in my opinion. So he said when we were 9-0, which was not true. We had 30 more sacks than everybody in the NFL, which was not true. That he
said a media member said we want you fired. No one ever said that.
Again, I don't think when I first heard the line, I wasn't like I didn't believe he was saying these things were literally true. They felt like figurative statements, and so there was a little bit too much like heavy reaction in my mind. I recognize that what he said was silly. I think if I was a Cardinals fan, I would be very panicked. But I think he is right that like Eagles fans kept coming for him and I mean Eagles media and that's the job. Like I think to blame the media is stupid, but like there were a lot of people who root for the Philadelphia Eagles who hated him, not just at the end. So like he is right about that. So to act like there's zero truth to what he said because there's a factual inaccuracy is, in my opinion, being like ridiculously obtuse for no reason other than furthering an agenda.
I just have a couple of stats for you here. The Eagles have played 400 games since 2000. Among that sample, the defensive performance in the Super Bowl ranked 391st in EPA per drive and 395th in success rate. Beyond this, based on offensive success rate, the Chiefs' performance was tied for the 6th best of any team this entire 2022 season out of 568 possible performances.
They're also quarterbacked by one of the best players.
It was the Chiefs'
ever.
best game based on success rate all season, and the Eagles defense didn't have a sack.
Again, like
good luck, Arizona.
Like multiple things can be true, and multiple things cannot be false. But like people can't be like he is trash, he sucks, he's awful. Like they were the best defense in the NFL.
He was trash when it mattered most against actually viable quarterbacks. Anyway, none of this is about the podcast.
Right, let's get back to the this is our we're in the third round. We're gonna cut it after this.
I'm zooming in here, so like because the names are small for me.
Top options: Rashee Rice, Gervin Dexter, Siaki Ika, Jordan Battle, Brandon Joseph, Warren McClendon, JL Skinner, Noah Sewell. A lot of people thought Noah Sewell was going to be like a first-round player a year ago. You know what I mean? I remember he was mocked to the Cowboys. Like at like this Saturday or Sunday, we'll get like a way too early 2024 mock draft. That's when Noah Sewell was mocked to the Cowboys last year.
I was thinking about Gervin Dexter. who visited the Eagles. But we already got Jalen Carter here, so I don't really know that that's super realistic. I forgot about that, by the way. It's a pretty good outcome for the Eagles. They're not going to take Rashee Rice. Yeah, who else do we got down here? I'm looking. Why don't we give them? It's a reach according to this board, but I think it kind of would be realistic in what they're looking to address. Can you go back to number like the 90 range in here? Not too. Christopher Smith, safety from Georgia. Why not another Georgia player on your defense? The Eagles currently have
5,000
settled. Huh?
I was saying 5,000 Bulldogs.
Yes, they have a lot of players from, especially after drafting Jalen Carter earlier in this draft. Eagles currently have Terrell Edmonds on a 1-year deal, and Reed Blankenship, who's an undrafted rookie free agent, who showed promise last year, but still is not like a full-on proven starter in the NFL yet. The point is they could use some more safety help, so we'll take Christopher Smith from a national championship team, Georgia defense, and he will be in the mix to compete for playing time.
The Giants are now on the clock at 89. I guess for the first time, nobody wants to trade up for this pick.
Wow.
So they have not taken a safety because we did not take Brian Branch earlier. The top 2 options based on PFN's board are Jordan Battle and JL Skinner. I think that those make sense as options.
Hard to go wrong with another Alabama player, I feel like. So why don't we give them a safety from
Jordan
Alabama?
Battle from Alabama.
It's their second safety from Alabama since they already have Xavier McKinney.
Right. Now the Cowboys. Okay, so another no offer. Cowboys have at this point taken Michael Mayer and Cody Mock. So they've addressed tight end, offensive line. This is, to me, so they haven't addressed defensive tackle, but like that would not stun me in any way, shape, or form. But this is where I think they do get their running back of the future, or like call it of the future, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like they need a second guy. They like, sure. I'm not saying like they want to
Pollard's on a 1-year deal.
Right. I'm not saying like they want to run the ball. They do want to run the ball. They want to be able to, establish the run in certain ways, not in an archaic way. And to your point, Tony Pollard, not only on a 1-year deal, but coming off of a significant injury. So you've got to protect yourself. Top options here: Zach Evans, Tank Bigsby, Israel Abinaconda, who is a fan favorite of many Blog on the Boys users. I never saw Roshan Johnson go. There he is. He's at 113. That would not stun me. That's a very popular mock. I recognize how far down he is on.
We didn't get Bijan, but we got Bijan's backup.
Miles Sanders was Saquon Barkley's backup at Penn State. So
did you know the Eagles and Steelers were once one team?
The Eagles and Steelers, they're both from Pennsylvania. They were the one team. They were the Steagles a long time ago. Anyway, any of these guys, I'm fine taking. Zach Evans is a great pick. He is the highest ranked running back here by PFN's board. So he is kind of like, he's a placeholder for me. Like I'm super fine, to be very clear, if Zach Evans specifically is the pick, but this represents to me arbitrary running back X, like we talked about with Zach Charbonnet with the Eagles earlier in this mock.
Sure.
Done. Super offensive heavy draft for the Cowboys so far. Eagles are
this is the pick they got, I think, from that trade down.
It is.
It's not. It's their own because
they've been offered a million things. It's hard to keep track at this point.
It is hard to keep track.
No trade offers. So what do you want to do?
Can you scroll down like a tiny bit, please?
Ivan Pace Jr. is here. A lot of Cowboys fans love him. Tank Dell is here too. Interesting option.
A little bit more. This is tough, and it's not good podcasting for me to say nothing, but I'm looking at a lot of names here. Why don't we go fun and we'll take Tank Dell? Why not? Because we didn't really add a receiver yet, and I think they should like to add one at some point. Also should probably add a linebacker, but it's too late. We took Tank Dell. It's fine. We'll do something fun.
This is our last pick because we're only going to do the top 100, obviously. So the Commanders are on the clock at 97. So
why don't we give them, I'm trying to think. They have Brian Robinson, right?
Right.
Do we want to give them Tank Bigsby?
Well, we talked about linebacker, and I mentioned that Ivan Pace Jr. is
gave them a linebacker. We gave him Drew Sanders.
Oh, you're right. Everything's so difficult to keep track of now. Have we given them offensive playmaker help?
We gave them because we gave them Deonte Banks and Drew Sanders. So we
There's
should probably
just
give
so
them
there's
someone
just
on
so many running
offense.
backs. I mean,
Give them a running back. Why not? Why not
all
give
right,
them to Tank Bigsby? Give it boom.
done.
What a great name for a running back. Come on. Are you serious? Like that guy should be in the Hall
Back
of
to
Fame.
back. Our mock exercise here
Yeah.
ends with back to back tanks.
Boom.
We had Tank Dell, Tank Bigsby. So wow. I can't pull the list up because let me see if I can while I have it off screen.
I think I have some of it straight in my head, hopefully. The Eagles ended up with Jalen Carter, DeJuan Jones, and Zach Charbonnet, and Tank Dell. I think that was their 4 picks, if I'm not missing anyone. Oh, and also Chris Smith, the safety, Christopher Smith. They made 5 picks total in the top 100. And the Cowboys ended up with Michael Mayer. And who did they take in the second round? What position?
Cody Mock.
Cody Mock, the offensive lineman. And then you gave them a linebacker? Or no, running back. Zach Evans.
Right. Correct.
And the Commanders got Deonte Banks, Drew Sanders, and Tank Bigsby. And the Giants, New York Football Giants, ended up with Zay Flowers, John Michael Schmitz, and the Alabama safety. I forget. Right. Jordan Battle? Anthony something Battle?
Right. Jordan Battle. Yeah, I can't get to the end of this.
So I did pretty good from the top of my head. Jordan Battle. Yeah,
I mean we can.
So
I
think those are nice drafts for everyone. I think no one got. I think I really like the Eagles draft. I think that was like very strong for them. I'm really happy with that. How do you feel about the Cowboys?
We did include one trade, obviously for the Eagles, the trade down with the Packers.
It was realistic. I think it was fair. Yeah.
I mean, all told, I think we were responsible. I'd be terrified of the Giants landing Zay Flowers. I really would. Like, I know we don't believe in Daniel Jones a ton, but like Daniel Jones gets a lot better with Zay Flowers. You know what I mean? Like that offense, like it goes from like all you have to do to beat the Giants is just kind of like survive to like now they can kind of, you know, in some respects go shot for shot with you. And that's my deepest fear.
I believe in Daniel Jones to the extent he could be like a Kirk Cousins quarterback who has some regular season success, but isn't doing much in the postseason.
Wow. Okay.
And then can beat Kirk Cousins in the playoffs.
Is there anything else that we want to say?
Looking forward to the picks. I said this on BGN Radio, but I'll echo it here. Looking forward to the picks actually being made because it's just more fun to me to analyze what's actually done as opposed to speculating for months. I mean, that's fun too. It has its own value. I'm not trying to crap on the pre-draft process entirely, but it gets a little much.
There's a piece to like, there's a piece to like, okay, it's over. These are the players.
Yeah.
Let's study to a different level.
Let's actually try to fit how they or understand how they fit into, because you start to overthink things by the end. Like, what if the Eagles actually took a quarterback? Like, wouldn't that actually be smart? Like, not to that, obviously not in that case specifically, but like, would you get to kind of overthink it a little bit at times?
Let's get out of here.
All right.
Good luck at your draft party. I hope that a lot of people walk up to you and demand their drinks. And
I not say drinks multiple. I said one.
Nope. Oh, that's right. Because you only said one person. I thought in my head for a moment it was like the first time each person did it. But you're right.
Nope. No, the first actual Cowboys fan, verifiably Cowboys fan.
What do you need to verify? That's what we need to know. The blue checks are gone. So what is your form of verification?
It has to be. I have to believe it. You can't just be like, "Hey, I'm a Cowboys fan." You have to be like wearing Cowboys gear or something like that.
I think the way that somebody verifies it to you is to say, "Hey, Brandon, you and I have the same level of emotional investment into the Cowboys because I care more about them winning than anything else, and you care more about them losing than you do even the Eagles winning." Those are your words.
I'll open it up to Giants and Commanders too. If you're wearing one of those two things, I'll loop you in with the Cowboys fans. Sorry, Eagles fans, there's already gonna be a lot of you Eagles fans, and you're already gonna get a chance to win some prizes anyway. So sorry that you don't actually get anything.
Let's get out of here. As we leave, Brandon, I would like you to tell me your 5 favorite things to eat with a spoon. So they have to be things that you exclusively eat with a spoon. Can be hot, can be cold, can be liquefied, whatever you want.
And in the eyes of the jackal, I say, kaboom.
Thanks for your list.